Bryce Harper is overrated. Fernando Tatis Jr. is overrated. Shohei Ohtani, overrated. See how common it is? You can find just about any great player in baseball, some as good as Harper or Tatis, or a literal two-way superstar like Shohei, someone who hits like an MVP and pitches like a Cy Young Award winner, and there are people out there who will call them overrated. Now, are there overrated players in baseball? Yes, of course, there absolutely are, just like there are underrated players. But I think the term overrated does get used a tad much nowadays and gets used almost as a way to just look different or whatever. Everyone likes that player. Oh, well, he's overrated. And with all that said, there's a certain someone who's been down in Miami for years, a New York Yankee now, and someone who many refer to as overrated, maybe more than anybody in the game today. Something that players even call him. Why is that? Well, welcome back, or welcome for the first time if you're new to the channel, and consider subscribing if you enjoy the videos, as Jazz Chisholm Jr. has become an interesting talking point among baseball fans over the last few years. I feel like you'll only find people who love Jazz or hate the guy, no in between. And there's a number of reasons for this. And by the way, I just so happened to see someone wearing this the night before I made this video, so it's a sign. But anyway, let's go back to the beginning. Jazz was born and mostly raised in the Bahamas and learned how to hit at 2 years old by his grandmother, who played shortstop for the Bahamian national softball team. That's like 3 strings of information in a row you probably would have never guessed about Jazz, but there you go. Shout out to Grandma though, for real, because without her, who knows what happens with Jazz. Baseball is better with him, but we'll get into that in a bit. Anyway, Jazz moved to the US at 12 years old to a prep school in Wichita, Kansas to play baseball, but also basketball and football. Imagine going from the Bahamas to Kansas. That might be as much of a change since Dorothy went from Emerald City back to Kansas and the Wizard of Oz, but nah, no disrespect to Kansas, I'm sure it's great. Never been, but one day. But Jazz has been there. He went and lived there, but returned back to the Bahamas after high school to train at a sports academy, eventually signing with the Diamondbacks as an international free agent in 2015, and off his professional career began. 4 years later, still in the minor leagues with the D-backs this whole time, Jazz was traded to the Marlins for Zach Gallen, who's ended up becoming a massive impact pitcher for the D-backs over the years that's resulted in winning. As for Miami, Jazz has impacted that team in all of baseball in a bit of a different way, making his debut in 2020, getting his feet wet just a tad bit during that shortened season and postseason run by Miami. But by 2021, Jazz, who had made the team out of spring training, was officially a big league starter almost 6 years after going pro. Now we go. He wasn't great in 2021, his rookie year, but he was much better in 2022, becoming an all-star and actually being named the starting second baseman for the game, despite not playing because of an injury, something that would become a trend. He actually didn't play a single game the rest of the year. Despite only playing 60 games that year, though, Jazz got the honor of being on the cover of MLB The Show 23, and this came with a lot of controversy. People argue that he didn't deserve it because he wasn't good enough and barely even established, while a guy like Julio Rodriguez, who also has a big personality, just got done winning the Rookie of the Year award. And that big personality that, like Julio, Jazz had, was a big reason as to why he became the cover guy. Was Jazz an MVP level player? No, nothing close to it, but he also only had a couple years under his belt, had dealt with injuries, and in the times he was on the field was a fun player to watch, full of personality. But just like so many fans hate on Jazz and call him overrated or full of himself or whatever, it had also become known that the same sentiment was being shared in Jazz's own clubhouse, among some of his own teammates on the Marlins. 2023 ended up being the most fun year Jazz ever had in the big leagues up until that point, something he talked about before the 2024 season on a podcast, while calling the first 3 years he was in the big leagues, 2020, 2021, and 2022, the worst 3 years of probably his life.
If I could tell you I hated my first 3 seasons in the big leagues, you would think I lied, because of the way that I went out and did everything and stayed professional. But I hated 2020, I hated 2021, I hated 2022. All 3 of those seasons. Why? It's just because of what you just said. Just like you said, you had vets that hate what you do and who you are. I had that from day one of in the big leagues for 3 straight seasons. From day one to year 3.
and described the experience as pretty miserable, saying that he never talked to anybody, called playing baseball the worst, that he hated being around those guys who were trying to get him out of there anyway. I mean, according to Jazz, the Marlins clubhouse was just toxic as hell. Apparently, when Jazz arrived for his first spring training as a rookie with cleats and other equipment that he designed with his own colorful artwork, a veteran teammate cut up the cleats, poured milk on them, and said those are trash.
It's my first year in the big leagues, right? I get to the locker room, I got 20 pairs of cleats. Within the first week, someone one of my vets cut up my cleats, poured milk in my cleats, and threw them in the trash and said, those shoes are ugly, bro. Get some new ones. I don't want to say what I did on camera, but yeah, I mean, I was not the rookie that took that easy. I definitely went through his whole locker in the trash. I did it. That's me. Like, you're not gonna come over here and mess with the things that I worked hard to design myself. It's not like I went and let somebody else go and paint this and draw this. I did that I'm an artist at my heart. Like, I love to make music. I love to draw stuff. I do all that stuff myself. So like, when you go and destroy the things that I worked hard to do, like, I ain't got the money like you, bro. I just got here a day ago. Like, you've been making millions for this is your 8th year in the big leagues and you're worried about me. We don't even play the same position.
Right.
Your friend and I play the same position, but we don't.
Right.
So let your friend come. If your friend has a problem, let him come. Like, I don't have a problem talking to him too.
There was another incident with another player that prompted Jazz to go up against the veterans. After Jesus Sanchez hit a home run, veterans started getting on his case for doing the Juan Soto shuffle, being like, you're not Juan Soto, whatever. Only for Jazz to come in and defend his young teammate, telling them to back off, asking who they were to be bringing him down like that. And sure enough, Sanchez went on a crazy cold streak after that. So it shows how anti of the unwritten rules Jazz is, but you don't need to listen to him explain it to know that. All you need to do is just watch him play. This man might have the coolest antics in the game. The way he just goes about hitting and playing defense, but especially when he connects for a homer and just is so smooth with it, shooting a basketball at first base, doing a Euro step. I mean, there's a lot of things that are good with old school, but in order for baseball to grow, it also has to get with the times. And Jazz is the perfect player for kids to watch and admire in a sense where he simply has fun playing baseball. Yeah, he takes it seriously too, but having fun is just as important, especially for young kids who look up to these guys. And it's not like Jazz disrespects anybody, but some of the veterans still reject stuff like that. Jazz was not a big fan of Miguel Rojas, who's now on the Dodgers, but while in Miami for many years, Rojas was looked at as a leader and captain on the team, someone who Jazz called out. Not specifically by name in the podcast, but referred to him as the captain, and didn't have much of a filter, saying he wasn't a good captain, going as far as to say he's not a good person and only brought down the young guys who were supposed to be good. A private team meeting was held in 2022 that was meant to get Jazz to start getting in line more, to not be as flashy as he'd been, which is beyond the dumbest thing imaginable. He was the best player on the team at that point in time. Who cares what he wears or how he celebrates? Well, the veterans did.
Like, it was nothing about baseball. Like, it was nothing to do with baseball at all. So, like, that's what made it so wild to me, because, like, we're having a whole team meeting with guys that I don't even talk to off the field. So why are we having an off-the-field team meeting when we play baseball? Like, we don't even hang out off the field. Like, I don't see you guys on the road because I don't leave my room. I play video games all day. I don't see you guys at home because I definitely don't live close to none of you guys. Like, my cousin, my little brother's with me every day. My little brother go with me everywhere. They wanted to put me in a box, and it wasn't happening because I'm not ever gonna get put in a box. Like, that's just me. Like, so the thing for me that was the craziest was like, oh, the way he dresses coming to the field. Oh, he wears 4 chains on the field. How are you complaining about me wearing 4 chains when I lead our team in every stat?
And that very night after the meeting, Jazz hit 2 homers and did the Euro step on one of them. So for those 3 years from the 2020 through 2022 seasons, Jazz did mostly everything on his own and was only cool with so many of the guys, which included Starling Marte, who he praised, but the other guys would complain about what he wore, wearing certain shoes on the plane, etc.
Oh, he doesn't wear dress shoes on the plane. We're on a plane, bro.
Is that a team rule?
Dress shoes?
Is it a team rule?
No. So the rule is you have to wear nice shoes. No Jordans, no Nikes. Like the golf looking ones, right. Those. But they're Jordan, right? They go tell the manager, oh, Jazz is wearing Jordans on the plane.
They were rat?
What do you
Snitch?
mean? This is what I'm trying to tell you. And this is why I'm trying to tell you, like, when I would, like, anything I did, that's why I didn't sit around nobody. I didn't hang around nobody, bro. Like, when I went to the field in 2022, take off my shoes, take off my clothes, and I'm gone. Like, I'm not in the clubhouse.
Rojas admitted that he was bothered by what Jazz had said about him in that interview. Watch.
Everybody's entitled to have their own opinion. Whatever you want to say about me as a player, you can have that opinion. But you saying that I'm a bad person when you don't even know me, that's kind of what bothers me. I'm not expecting everybody to like me, and I don't like everybody. But that doesn't mean that I can go out there and tell everybody what's happening in the clubhouse. As a professional, you have to understand that you have to respect everybody that is in that clubhouse. When you come to a place and you get to a new place, there are people there that have been there before you. There's rule in place, and someone is going to keep you accountable. That's all the best we're trying to do.
Jazz isn't perfect. He mentioned oversleeping a team meeting once and Miguel Rojas not waking him up for it. It of course just was a very toxic environment with two polar opposites clashing. Jazz being a rebel and the veterans not really respecting him too much for it. Guys who were in the Marlins clubhouse before who just wanted to keep things a certain way. That's since changed after Skip Schumacher became the manager, someone Jazz has praised and talked about how much fun he had last year, a year that saw the Marlins back in the playoffs, not for long, but still, Jazz did deal with the injury bug again and played 97 games, but he's already surpassed that amount this year, a year where he's been just alright, just like last year. You can really tell the level of talent that he has. Jazz just hasn't really put it all together for a long enough period of time. Whether he becomes a superstar hitter or not, I still think Jazz is one of the more fun guys to watch, and the hate that gets thrown his way just isn't fully necessary. I mean, I brought up the accusations of being overrated for a reason. Fans think it, and even other players, as a recent anonymous MLB player poll by The Athletic had Jazz getting far and away the most votes for the most overrated player in baseball. No player got more than 6 votes by their peers for being looked at as overrated, except for Jazz, who got 12 out of the 59 players answering voting for him. The way I see it is he's not overrated, not because he's underrated or anything like that. I would just say he's properly rated. Him being on the cover of MLB The Show definitely helps with the argument, or at least people thinking he doesn't deserve that recognition. But it's more so because of how flashy he is and how good that is for MLB to promote. Some of the stuff he gets harped on for. Jazz does showboat and celebrate and do certain things that get people angry, absolutely. But he's never actually gone out of his way to disrespect any single person. Like, it's pretty clear that he's doing all those fun little celebrations and antics for himself because he enjoys doing it and is having fun. Not because he wants to show the other team that they're losers or something. He doesn't stare down the pitchers. Juan Soto does that. I don't really see many people complaining about that. So I think Jazz at the end of the day is only good for baseball, and hopefully he can reach his potential talent-wise. And if he does, it's not going to be in Miami anymore. It's going to be in pinstripes. It's been pretty obvious for a while now that Jazz was going to be getting traded. It didn't take a crystal ball to tell anybody that. It was clear the moment the Marlins started playing like they forgot how to play baseball. It sucks, but it is what it is, and the Marlins are going to take advantage of the opportunity to get something for the future. So it was only a matter of when, and that when is now. There were recent reports that the Yankees were interested in trading for Jazz, but were also concerned about how he would potentially fit in the Yankees clubhouse, which is interesting. It's become known that the Yankees are a very team-first mentality, which is how it should be, of course, but they take it to another level, with the no facial hair rule, having no names on the back of the jerseys, stuff like that. And as a result, some players who are cool and have aura go there and lose that coolness and aura. Garrett Cole is the perfect example of this. He looked like a badass in Houston, goes to New York, and now looks like the average American dad, which is fine, and he's still been great as a Yankee, but no badass vibes, just kind of like corny. Alex Verdugo, there's another. When he was in Boston and had his beard, he looked way more badass than the shaved face he has now, and Aaron Boone even told him he had to wear less chains on the field. I mean, this Andrew McCutchen before and after tells you everything. Perfect example. But the Yankees have seemed more open to the idea of getting players with big personalities rather than the Aaron Judge, Derek Jeter types. Like Juan Soto, that dude hasn't lost any aura and pinstripes. He's still great and badass, maybe even more so. And I think the same will go for Jazz, who the Yankees did decide to pull the trigger on and get. I don't think him being a Yankee will change any of that. If anything, it may only enhance the flashiness, playing in front of packed crowds at Yankee Stadium, gunning for the playoffs. Maybe Jazz will give the Yankees offense the jolt they need. He hasn't had a great year, but maybe everyone will benefit. He gets hot, finds consistency with the bat, and gets more motivated, I guess, and helps the Yankees in the process. But whether in Miami, New York, playing center field, second base, wherever, Jazz Chisholm Jr. is looked at by many as overrated. But all Jazz should do is continue to do what he's always done and only improve. He's not disrespecting anybody with the way he goes about his game. He's just having fun. Will he be the greatest player ever? No. But he definitely has the potential to be an all-star, not just again, but several times throughout his career. A career that's still so young. Let me know your thoughts and thank you for watching.